Welcome to Learning Bites English Learning class. In this video, we will practice our English by listening to an audiobook story. Let's practice together.
Talking about the silly day of Mr. Benny. Once upon a time, in a small, cheerful town, there was a funny man named Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny was known for his silly actions and big, bright smile. He always wore colorful clothes, like his favorite red shoes, green hat, and a bright blue scarf, even when it wasn't cold. Mr. Benny loved making people laugh with his funny ideas and goofy mistakes. Today, he decided, would be the silliest day yet. The breakfast confusion. Early in the morning, Mr. Benny woke up with a big yawn and a big smile. Today is going to be a fun day, he said to himself. He walked to the kitchen, ready for breakfast. Mr. Benny loved toast with butter, so he put a slice of bread in the toaster and waited. But there was one small problem: Mr. Benny had forgotten to plug in the toaster. He waited and waited, but the toast didn't pop up. What's wrong with my toaster? He wondered. He looked inside, and the bread was still cold. Finally, Mr. Benny spotted the plug. He laughed at himself and said, "Oh, silly me. I forgot to plug it in." He plugged it in, and soon the toast popped up, all warm and crispy. But Mr. Benny's breakfast was about to get even sillier. As he reached for the butter, he accidentally grabbed the mayonnaise instead. Without looking, he spread it on his toast, took a big bite, and made a funny face. "Yuck," he cried, "this is not butter." But he shrugged, laughed, and decided to make a fresh piece of toast. Today really is a silly day, he chuckled. The mischievous cat. After his funny breakfast, Mr. Benny decided to take his pet cat, Whiskers, outside to play. Whiskers was a little gray cat with a big, playful personality. Whiskers loved to run, jump, and sometimes even hide Mr. Benny's things. As Mr. Benny put on his shoes, Whiskers spotted one of his socks on the floor. Quick as lightning, Whiskers snatched the sock and ran away with it. "Come back here, Whiskers!" Mr. Benny shouted, hopping on one foot, trying to catch his cat. Whiskers dashed under the table, around the chair, and into the living room. Mr. Benny chased him all over the house, but Whiskers was too quick. Finally, Whiskers dropped the sock, and Mr. Benny picked it up, laughing and out of breath. "You're too fast for me, Whiskers," he said with a smile. The Silly Shoes Adventure. After getting his sock back, Mr. Benny put on his favorite red shoes and went outside. He was ready to go for a walk. But as he took a few steps, something didn't feel right. His feet felt very big and very heavy. Mr. Benny looked down and realized he had put on his giant clown shoes by mistake. The clown shoes were red, just like his regular shoes, but they were 5 times bigger. With each step, the shoes made a loud squeak, squeak sound. People on the street started laughing when they saw Mr. Benny walking in his big clown shoes. Mr. Benny waved and said, "Hello." It's a silly day today. He decided to keep walking in his big shoes, enjoying the funny squeaky sounds. The ice cream adventure. After a long walk in his squeaky shoes, Mr. Benny was ready for a treat. He went to the ice cream shop and looked at all the flavors: chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, and even bubblegum. "I'll take a triple scoop, please," he told the ice cream man. He got a cone with 3 big scoops, 1 chocolate, 1 vanilla, and 1 bubblegum. But as soon as he stepped outside, the ice cream started melting. "Uh-oh," he said, feeling the ice cream drip on his hand. Before he knew it, splat! The whole cone fell right onto his shoe. "Oh no," Mr. Benny said, laughing. "Now my shoe is covered in ice cream." He tried to wipe it off with a napkin, but his shoe was a sticky mess. Still, he found it funny and continued his walk, leaving a trail of little ice cream drops behind him. The funny park picnic. Next, Mr. Benny decided to visit the park. He brought a lunch bag with him, packed with a sandwich, an apple, and a juice box. He also packed some treats for Whiskers and his pet dog, Buddy. Buddy was a big, fluffy dog who loved running and barking happily. When he reached the park, Mr. Benny found a nice spot under a big tree and sat down. He opened his lunch bag, but instead of his sandwich, he found Buddy's dog treats. "Oh no. I brought Buddy's food instead of my lunch," Mr. Benny said, laughing. He looked around and saw Buddy wagging his tail, ready to eat the treats. "Well, at least someone is happy," he chuckled as he fed the treats to Buddy. Mr. Benny decided to eat the apple he had brought and shared some with Whiskers and Buddy, who sat beside him, enjoying the silly picnic. The kite that flew away. After his picnic, Mr. Benny spotted a little boy flying a kite. The kite was red and shaped like a big bird. Mr. Benny thought it looked fun, so he decided to fly his own kite. He got his kite ready and started running to get it in the air. At first, the kite went up slowly, then higher and higher. But suddenly, a big gust of wind came and pulled the kite out of Mr. Benny's hands. "Come back, kite," he shouted, running after it. Whiskers and Buddy chased after him, barking and meowing. The kite flew higher and higher, and then it got stuck in a tree. Mr. Benny looked up, laughed, and said, "Well, I guess the kite wants to stay in the tree today." The funny car ride home. By now, Mr. Benny was tired. It was time to go home, so he got into his little yellow car with Whiskers and Buddy. But as soon as he started the car, it made a funny sound: clunk. Clunk. Mr. Benny looked around and realized the sound was because his car door was open. He laughed, closed the door, and drove home with a big smile on his face. On the way home, he remembered all the silly things that happened: the funny breakfast, the giant shoes, the melting ice cream, the kite, and the mixed-up picnic. He couldn't stop laughing. The end of a silly day. When Mr. Benny finally got home, he took off his giant clown shoes, gave Buddy and Whiskers a big hug, and sat down with a cup of tea. Today was the silliest day ever, Mr. Benny said to himself, smiling. As he sat with his pets, he felt happy and peaceful, thinking about all the funny moments from his day. Mr. Benny closed his eyes and whispered, "I think I'll have another silly day tomorrow." And with that, Mr. Benny drifted off to sleep, dreaming of even more funny adventures to come. The end.
If you found this lesson helpful, feel free to like and share a comment. Please subscribe to the Learning Bites channel for more useful videos.